Moving on. Top 5 teams. Thanks for indulging my little TED talk right there. But top 5 teams. I'm going to try and make this a little bit faster than the last one. Orlando Magic, number 5. Been very, very good. This was written before Franz Wagner's out with the same injury that Paolo Banchero was out with. Hopefully Paolo comes back soon, but Franz is out indefinitely, last I heard. So the Magic, before they went down, 2nd in blocks, 3rd in steals, 2nd in defensive rating, and 3rd in deflections. Just like to toss some stuff up for you guys. Paolo's out for most of the season thus far. Franz has been hooping, but Franz is now out. Supporting cast is very, very good. Goga Bitadze, or Bitadze. I think I said it right, Bitadze. Jonathan Isaac, Jalen Suggs, KCP, Anthony Black, Jet Howard, Tristan Da Silva, Cole Anthony, question mark. I wrote a question mark in his name because they might trade him. I think they should. Play good. He had a really nice block the other game. But when I wrote this, they were 3rd in the East. Paolo will come back, and I think they'll stay there. And I wrote in parentheses, unless Giannis and Dame come up. Their next 5 games, once again, I wrote this a little bit ago, was Bucks, Thunder, Heat twice, Celtics, and Knicks. So they've had a relatively easy schedule. Like you look at their schedule and you look at Houston's schedule and you're like, okay, cool, you're in the top 3 in your respective conference, but you played Charlotte twice, you played Washington twice, you played whoever twice, and like, come on, bro. So we'll have to see the Magic playing at Bucks, then they have a home stretch to play OKC, the Heat twice, Celtics, and Knicks. So if they come out of that and they're fine, especially now with Franz and Paolo out at the same time, we're going to have some conversations about this team. But right now, they're number 5. Number 4, team I just talked about, but don't get me wrong, they're so good. Their schedule has not been the best. They're 1st in rebounding, 5th in net rating, 3rd in defensive rating, 2nd in fast break points, and they're 2nd in second chance points per game. And I just watched them last night play the Clippers. The amount of offensive rebounds they have is insane. So, fun fact, I found out Thiago Splitter is an assistant coach for the Houston Rockets. If you did not know that, join the club. I did not either until I saw it on their homepage, and I was like, that's crazy because I don't even think he played for the Houston Rockets. So, interesting. But Houston, great overall roster. They might be too deep, and maybe this should have been a take, one of my top 5 takes we got later on in the pod, but I have a theory and maybe a business decision for the Houston Rockets to trade Reed Shepherd for a bigger star, Reed Shepherd and company, whoever they want to throw in with that, or a star, kind of like the Clippers did with Shea, where it was like, we have, first of all, a 1st round lottery draft pick guard from Kentucky, both situations, trade him for a star and hope for a better future. Except, maybe it'll go better than the Clippers because it won't be one of the worst trades in NBA history, like so very blatantly. But I was watching the Rockets game last night play the Clippers. Like, Reed Shepherd didn't even get into like either the late 3rd quarter or early 4th quarter. And I was like, they look fine. They don't need him. Like, I was like, is he injured? No, he's not playing. They don't need him. They don't need a guy like that. You got Amen Thompson, you got Fred VanVleet, and you got Jalen Green at the guards. That's enough guard play. That's enough. I think you got that. You can rock with it. You don't need another guard to come off and you're kind of expecting like, oh, he was the 3rd pick. We need to like give him some stuff. Like, no. I think you just move him, get some pieces, or I'd say actually don't get some pieces, get a piece and make a big push because you're number 2 in the West right now. You're playing well, and you got to. It's a win now mode. Honestly, it's if it's not win now at the moment, it's win in the next 5 years, which is a long time. But you got to get a Devin Booker. You got to get somebody else who is very good player to bring you above where you're currently at. And Reed Shepherd's not going to do that for him. So, but I do think if they can trade him, he can do that for them in a sense. Picking up what I'm putting down. But my big question is, can they win? We'll have to see. I'm kind of comparing them to the 2023 Kings, where it's like they got the 3rd seed, highest rated offense, whatever, very, very good. Losing the 1st round because Steph Curry balled out. So, can see that happening. Don't be surprised if Houston losing the 1st round because a superstar comes in. You don't want to play Luka. You don't want to play Shea. You don't want to play KD Book. You don't want to play, if Kawhi comes back, you don't want to play Kawhi. I wouldn't want to play LeBron AD. I wouldn't want to play Ant. I want to play Yoke. Like, that could be a thing. Houston Rockets, Denver Nuggets, the 1st round, and they lose because they're playing Jokic. That's not So I'm not, the stock is not bought in yet for the Houston Rockets. Got to wait a little bit. Not saying they're going to be bad. They're a great team. Great defenders. A lot of good upside there. I love Şengün, love Jalen Green. Love me some Dylan Brooks sometimes, right? I love Amen Thompson. Oh my gosh, I love Amen Thompson. That guy's awesome. But they got the time for it. But now is not the time. Number 3, OKC Thunder. First in net rating, first in defensive rating, first in steals, third in blocks, first in deflections, first in loose balls recovered. Crazy defensive team, as you can see. Chet is back January 26th. Needs Shea to step up. Talked about that already. A lot of good supporting cast. They are a young team that does not care. They remind me of Houston Rockets. More so, Houston Rockets remind me of them. But yeah, they have a lot of great pieces, a lot of young players. Can they win? That was my next question. They were my pick to come out of the West, but the gap between them and the next best team is not where I like it to be in terms of play style. I'm not talking about record. I'm talking about like Chet's not there and Shea isn't really doing a whole ton. Shea does playing better, but not like, hey, our third, maybe second best player that is competing with me is out and I'm going to step up and do some. They're just a very good team. I don't see them as like being unbeatable, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at with OKC Thunder. I do still have them coming out of the West just because they're that good. Hartenstein has been playing amazing. Russo's been like, I don't know. Thunder fans, let me know. Number 2, Boston Celtics. Third in points per game scored, second in net rating, third in offensive rating, and they're the defending champs, obviously, so I had to put that in there. They have the best lineup / roster / whatever in the league. When healthy, they look unbeatable. They got Porzingis, they got D. White, they got Drew Holiday. You know the pieces. You know how it rolls. JT and JB look amazing. The bench is getting a lot better. Peyton Pritchard has like multiple 20-point games this season come off the bench. Hauser's balling. Luke Cornett gets the minutes. I don't know his first name, but he put at Utah State. His last name is Queta, Quueta. I think that's how you say his name. Al Horford's balling. Xavier Tillman going to get some minutes, bro. So like I said, live and die by the threes. Giannis series could be scary. They could still beat them 100% because they're the Celtics. They're the best team in the NBA. Going forward, even though they're number 2 right now, you'll talk about it. But if they can get more efficient, their defense will always be okay, but their offense is going to be where they lose a series. They will lose a series because they will not play well offensively. They're going to be fine defensively, but they need to step up. And I think Jaylen Brown and JT can step up even more for them to really reach that defending champion, like we're untouchable GOAT legacy status. That's what I want to see from them. They're still my pick to win the championship because, dog, they're so good. But you might be wondering, Jake, if they're so good and blah, 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 all this stuff, why are they number 2 and not number 1? Well, number 1, Cleveland Cavaliers. A team goes 15-0 between the first 20 games of the season. I'm just not going to give them the number 1 spot? No. They went 15-0 in the first quarter of the season. First in points per game scored, first in 3-point percentage, third in net rating, second in offensive rating. One of the great offensive teams of today. Started the season 15-0, so they got to be number 1, bro. They beat Boston, one of the very few teams to beat Boston this year. Boston beat them back. Everyone stepped up. The new coaching has looked phenomenal. We will stay tuned. It is a rock, paper, scissors fight, in my opinion, between the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Bucks. Bucks because of Giannis. Knicks look pretty good. They were there. I decided to pick the Orlando Magic over the Knicks because, I don't know, I just feel like the Magic are way better defensively, and their offense is picking up, and that's where they needed to. And Franz had an extension. We'll talk about that more later, and he actually stepped up. So shout out to both of them, even though they're both hurt, Paolo and Franz. But that's where I'm at with the Cavs right now, number 1. 15-0 first 20 games, dude. Come on. They got to go there. So very, very good team.